in Oklahoma. On the road again. Glenn is on the road again. Oh yeah, the sun is cutting off your face, getting some of that vitamin D, huh? Okay, so what is this?
Oh, it's a Windows feature now.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
If you scroll over that, it pops up with the weather.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, let's admit, Josh.
It bugs me.
Okay, I was trying to pull up my MLS. Where are you? There we go. I can't figure that out.
Stay tuned, Glenn. We're getting things pulled up.
We are going to go through some of that. No, and we have a girl that is at Oak Tree, and she's a new girl that's trying to get in with all of us, and unfortunately, she's got some questionable TikToks that are out there. I'm like, girl needs a job. I think she's got a little too much time on her hands. Hello. Okay, why is this not playing? Yeah, I don't ever do political posts. I don't do religions, political. God, all of this stuff popping up is about to make me crazy.
Every time you log in MLS, there's something.
Okay, so let me share screen. I'm gonna let you start on the MLS stuff.
Okay.
All right, guys. So I'm sure people popping in just like that. We are going to go through just some different. Hold on just a second. I'm trying to let everybody in while I'm talking. I get sidetracked. We are going to go through just a series of different things just to make sure you guys are aware of some of the things that are out there for your numbers and reporting, and just it's kind of a slew of things. But we also wanted to give you a chance if you have some questions on things that you've been wondering about, just in MLS or even in mykw.kw.com. This is a chance for you to kind of ask those questions. But a lot of this stuff can be used for whenever you're going out and doing your listing presentations, you're working with your buyers. Just knowing your numbers in general is important. So this is a very casual class. We're going to work off of each other, Jeremy and I, just to kind of go through some things. But he has a series of things he wants to show you in MLS.
Okay. So I think just quick check. I think our mic's lighting up just fine, but could someone speak up and let me know you guys can hear us?
We can hear you.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. So good morning, everybody. So I'm just going to go over a few basic things in MLS to get this started. When we're talking about knowing your numbers, there's so much in real estate you can know, right? There's so many numbers out there. Today, we're going to focus on like the marketing business side, right? So I know we are planning on having another Know Your Numbers class that's talking about your business numbers and maybe tracking some of those for your own business. But today it's going to be more marketing focused. We'll see if Robin can get in now. Okay, so to kick it off, so in MLS, to get what I would call maybe the most basic numbers out of everything we do. Active listings, pending listings, and sold listings, just the numbers for those. This is pretty easy, but there's a couple things I'll point out to you. So if you just go into your MLS search, I'm going to use the residential search. So when you're talking about these numbers, they are what you make of them. So numbers are great. They give us something really easy to talk about out in the market. But the numbers are only there to help you tell whatever story we're trying to tell, right? So if you're looking to put out a number for just all the listings out in MLS, you're going to want to use a cross property search because that's searching commercial, residential, land, everything. But if you're looking to tell people how many homes are for sale, we want the residential search. But this part's real easy. Unless you want to start applying some sort of criteria, like you're talking about just Edmond or just Oklahoma City or Deer Creek schools or something, go ahead and put that stuff in if those are the numbers you're looking for. But immediately, without doing anything, you already have the active number because that's pre-checked for you guys. So if we're just looking for homes for sale in our area, we've got 3,260 homes for sale because we're under residential, right?
So I want to add something on that. So if you go down even further and you look at your add remove fields that are down below, you do that because I don't, the computer doesn't like me. Go to where we can put in our office at the very, I've already got it listed in there.
So you guys may need to add
Yeah.
the office, I think it's office ID.
Office ID, yeah. So when we say like there's 1,100 real estate agents in the Edmond market and we have X amount of homes that are active in our office or in the Oklahoma City or the Edmond area, when I want to look at just our office, we can come down here and just put in our office ID and we can see how many active listings do we have in our office.
Yep.
So we have 52 active listings in our office. Now, what I usually do is go in and say, okay, how many active listings do we have? And you can take the office one out and then put in the School of Edmond. So that really brings things home. So when you're talking to your clients and they're asking like, what's the market look like? What's going on out there? I see a lot of people like to know what's happening. Well, right now it was around 300. Oh, 275. So it's gone down again. We have 275 active listings in the Edmond schools, and we have over 1,100 agents in the Edmond market. So what that means is you have to be on your game and even better than the one next to you. And these numbers will help you because when you're starting out or even when you're experienced agents, numbers don't lie. And so you have a confidence in being able to share information that has nothing to do with your abilities, but all about what's happening in the market. And so this is a great way to really pull those numbers out. Anyways, I just wanted to.
No, that's great. And I mean, if you're starting to dig deep into like our local market, this is exactly how you can maybe see, okay, how many listings does our office have in the Edmond School District? And that's where we can get phrases like, okay, we have 1 in 5 homes in the Edmond School District listed or something like that, right?
Yeah.
These numbers can do whatever we need them to, but it's up to us to put them in the light we want it to. That is what makes you guys those local experts. Is you know what these numbers mean. You're not just putting them out there for everybody to figure it out themselves, right? Now, I guess the only other thing I really wanted to show you guys on this screen was, the pending and sold is just as easy. Just switch it to pending, just switch it to sold, and that's going to give you those numbers. So that's a good number right there. 275 homes listed in Edmond schools and 594 pending contracts. Like that gives us something to talk about, right?
Yeah.
And just for fun, I'm curious now. I want to see what the sold number is in the last 90 days. So you can control this time frame. Just for fun, since this market's crazy. Let's check the last 30 days. Because gosh knows nothing's sitting out there for 90 days. 333 sold homes. So in the last 30 days, we've still sold more than we have listed.
Yeah. So we have 275 active and we've sold 333.
And
so
I mean,
it's still a seller's market out there.
Yep.
So that's all of the MLS in Edmond.
Yes. This is just Edmond schools.
Yes, just Edmond.
But like even those 3 numbers out there, that is a strong piece of marketing you could put out there, whether you're farming with a postcard or you're putting on Facebook, like that should get some people talking, right? Anything else on this screen?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I've got stuff on market share, but we'll pull that when I pull the market share numbers.
So, and I mean, and if you can think of anything you pull up in MLS, we can find these numbers. We just have to use the criteria. It's just getting to know those.
Are you gonna do where they can show them how to do a, real quickly look at a quick CMA?
I can.
Yeah, I want to show you real quick on a quick CMA. I want to mention something with following up with your listings when you're doing that. If you have criteria that you have used for your sellers before, let's say you only want to look at their neighborhood. If you go in and pull that once a week, this is talking points with your sellers. It's not as big of a deal right now because obviously it's more of a seller's market than it is a buyer's market. But these are things that if you have the criteria and you've got it saved, every week you can go in and pull a report that shows exactly the data compared to the previous week. And that is talking points that you can have with your clients. It's also keeping you in the know of what's happening in the market. And I cannot tell you enough that knowing what is going on in the market will help you with when you're communicating with your clients and working with your clients on information that's valuable to them to sell their properties. And so when you go, you just select all and go to the very end.
Yeah, now I put, if you guys don't know, you can put those little stars in MLS, so it's not case sensitive or you don't have to match exactly. So I'm not pulling up just one oak tree. So just so you guys know what we're doing here. But I did check for active, pending and sold because to do a CMA, you want all three, right? And there's 30 properties. So I know a couple others had a lot more than that. Select. There we go, all 30. And we'll just do the one line CMA.
This is something you could also use with marketing, prospecting clients that you're trying to get their listing. So if you were looking at it for sale by owner or whatever, and you wanted just something quick, or you're doing an open house and you just wanted something quick that you could pull, this quick CMA is such a great snapshot to be able to look and see what's going on in that area. And it will also show you, somebody had asked me the other day about buying a listing that they were going to list. I go, well, one of the things you could do is have one of your coworkers pull a quick CMA, look at the bottom because it actually says your information when you pull the report. And that way you could show if anything ever came up that you were being unethical with a listing that you're purchasing that you were going to list, somebody else that is in our office could pull those numbers for you. So there's a lot of uses for the numbers and the data that can really help you in so many different avenues of your business.
And I know we've kind of just put criteria in that quick search field. But you could do a geographical area too. You could hit the map button and draw something on there, do a specific segment, and you can do all of this with that selected area as well.
I look at the average more so than I do the median. Yeah, I just kind of, I look at it all, but the one I really use is that average because then you can really look and go up or down based off of what property you're looking at and you're comparing it to. But again, you have to understand too, when we get in a market where there's a lot of short sales and foreclosures and all that, this quick CMA is not going to be the data that you want to use to get raw and get really, really honing in on your actual listing price or what you've going on, because there could be things in here, new construction that's not even ready yet, that is going to change the numbers on days on the market. So there's a lot of things to keep in mind, but if you just want a quick snapshot to use to go out and try to talk to a for sale by owner or even an expired listing or someone that you're talking to, this is a great, really great quick way to do it. That's it.
Okay. So let's back up on to our homepage for on MLS real quick. So there's a couple things we want to go over on here. The easiest one is this market stats by showing time. So this is just another place you can find statistics. Very easy to get at because it's right here. And there we go. You can click more stats to kind of open it up. I think it has a tile on the left-hand side too. But this is just purely tracking statistics for all kinds of things. So you've got some criteria you can put up here. This search bar up here, if you wanted to put a city or a zip code or something, this is where we can do that. So we can also look for Edmond up here. Actually, let me double check. I didn't see school districts.
No, you went into that link that was in the very homepage.
Right here,
Oh, yeah, the link in that.
or,
Or it says entire MLS.
oh, here it is right here, market stats, the same thing. So I knew they had a button. But it's InfoSparks, I'm sure is the company that powers it.
Third party, but yeah.
So, and if you want to do price ranges, it kind of has some pre-populated stuff here. Of course, you have that custom button if you really want to do something a little different than what they have. But the real power is down here. Now, typically, I don't like to look at 3 years, but it just depends on what you're doing. I usually just switch just to 1 year. I do like lines, but you have a bar graph option if that's your thing. And again, this just goes to what kind of story are we trying to tell? What kind of numbers do we actually need? And then you guys can see all the different categories it has right down here. So in Edmond, we're looking at a year over year, what is that? 12.3% gain in sale price, just gross overall. It's like, these are really easy numbers to get at, but that gives you something very powerful to talk about.
And just so you, in comparison, before all of this crazy market started happening, we in Edmond were always in that 2 to 4% appreciation. So you could expect, depending on the area or whatever, but on average in Edmond, you would see a 2 to 4% appreciation year over year. And this is 12%. So we have gone up incredible. So these are all talking points with people that when you're talking to them, that they can kind of see those numbers.
And maybe you don't even go for the percentages here. I mean, looking at this right here, switching it back to 3 years, average price point in August 2019 was 258,000. We're now at the 311. So maybe that's your number. We've, in 2 years, we've seen an average of, well, I don't know if I'd say 50,000. Well, I guess you could say that, right? We've seen an increase of $50,000 for the average price point in the Edmond market. Right? That's crazy. But there you go. I know. So sale price is always a good one to look at. Homes for sale is another one right now because it's so crazy, right? That tells you how competitive it is, and we're even lower than 2020. So, but I'm sure if you pair that with something like closed sales, we're probably doing pretty good there. We're actually above 2019, so we're averaging more sales than we were in 2019. Days on market, and we're not going to go through all these, I promise, but there's the one. I love days on market. And yeah, that's just crazy, isn't it? And there's always another one I like. Oh, now this one is kind of a joke at the moment, percentage of list price, right? Because it maxes out at 100. So you can't get the actual number there. You might have to crunch some numbers on that one.
Now, one thing to know about that is whenever the market does shift and they are going back to paying a lot of closing costs again, closing costs will be in that number. So even though the net to the seller isn't 100% of what it was listed at, you have to go in and make sure you understand that, because there's no way of pulling those numbers out when you're in the MLS. That price is up. Even though they paid closing costs, that comes out of a different area. So the price is still high, but they didn't net that amount because they might have paid closing costs. So that's just something to remember, that when the market does shift, that number is going to be a little bit different, because right now we're not paying a lot of closing costs for buyers because it is a seller's market. But when it becomes a buyer's market, we will get back into that. And that's one of the things just to remember when we get there.
Yep. And I don't know, this one was fun to watch when all this stuff started. I just think it's fun that it doesn't go above 100, right?
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, I'm sure it's probably in some areas 150% of list price.
So like I said, these are just really easy to get at. So when we say things like you guys should be out there, studying MLS a few minutes a day or something, it doesn't mean you have to look at all the listings, right? You could take maybe break our normal thing we do and come look at this stuff, and maybe we can find some other insights that we can then share with our sphere. So it's just kind of building that mind share that you are the real estate expert of choice, right? I just put Edmond up here, and you can do multiple areas. So if we wanted to compare Edmond and Oklahoma City, I should have done that in the beginning.
Oh, cool.
There we go. So just for fun, let's see. Oh, we're killing them in sales price.
And they haven't gone up as much as we have. That's also something to look at, when someone's deciding, do I want to live in Oklahoma City or Edmond? These are all stats that you can use
Yeah,
with your clients.
we're
Yeah.
doubling them this year.
To say, well, look at how Edmond has gone up, close to 60,000 in the last 3 years. And in Oklahoma City, they've gone up 30. So. Yeah, you can do UConn.
Yeah, UConn's. I know UConn's happening. Well, I mean, that's where you live, right? There we go.
40, 50,000.
UConn's doing pretty good too. So, and I mean, and I'm sure you can just add as many as, well, there's probably a limit somewhere, but you do.
Yeah, for people that are moving in too, you know how many people that come in and they don't know where they want to live and they are asking all these questions. Have school information, have this kind of information, because this information is so powerful. It's nothing you're saying, it's what the stats are saying for the market. And if they want a comparison, say, you know what, I can get you a comparison and maybe just compare the numbers of what's going on in all 3 markets, and you can make that decision. So people like to have that information.
And again, you have, if you want to dig deeper, you can do zip codes. You can't do neighborhood, right? So that's just not an option in here. But you can at least do zip codes if you want to try to drill down a little more. You also, I just want to point this out, you have a print and share button, right? So if you want to start making this a part of your listing presentation or buyer presentation, whatever it is, you want to share it on the social media, you have those options. Now, yeah, so when you're sharing stuff from social media, I'll just put this out there. Just be careful. Don't post a link. You want to make sure you're saving it to your computer and posting it yourself, right? I don't want them to have to click on this to view all the statistics. Does that make sense? A couple things in the chat. The office ID was KWED 01. Well, for our KW Edmond, right? Okay, so, but I think we have one more thing in MLS, and then we have a couple other things we'll go through. So this last thing in MLS doesn't really have to do with statistics, but it's just good to know, right? So in showing time, there is a very easy way for you to send out a notification on your listing, whether we had some sort of, maybe we just finished a repair, maybe we did a price adjustment. For whatever reason, we could be sending a notification out to everybody in our office, or everybody who's shown the home in the last 180 days.
The other thing to that is, let's say a lot of houses right now are going back on the market. This is a great way for you to also send an extra note, even though they're going to get a notification when it goes back on the market. You could send a notification to the agents that have shown it to let them know this house is back on the market. Just wanted to give you a notification. If your buyers are still interested, please give us a call. Something like that. Go back out.
Oh, sorry. So we're just in showing time for this part. So, let me show you. So open up showing time and ignore the pop-ups. So we're going to go to listing setup. Now I'm going to see everybody's listings because I'm an admin for the.
No, you're in mine.
Oh, I'm in Cindy. Okay.
And I don't have any listings. So maybe you log out and get in yours.
I'm going to log into mine.
Because I don't have any listings. Thank God, I would have gotten caught. There's a lot of stuff also while Jeremy's pulling it up. There's a lot of stuff in showing time that you can use on your selling side. This is where you can change it to where if you wanted your sellers to start setting up their own listing or, confirming their appointments, all of that can be done in there, but there can also be reports done. So if you ever wanted to do a report for your seller that shows, here's all the listings. So once a week you say, I'm going to provide your report, show you everything that's shown this week and the feedback we've gotten. You can do a report easily from that. These are all just things that you can use in your toolbox to actually help with keeping in communication with your clients.
Okay, I'm logged in now.
So listing setup.
So back to listing setup. So again, we're in showing time, listing setup, and now you're going to see your listings here, right? So it is important that you see them. But sure, Tracy won't mind. We'll use hers. So select the listing you want to send this notification out for. And it's a bit buried in here, but it's under listing activity report. So a few clicks to get here, right? But send notifications what we're looking for. So it is going to default to price adjustment. It's just a choice that Showing Time made. But if we're not doing a price adjustment, you can just switch this to other and it's going to wipe out that defaulted message and you can put whatever you want in here. Now you can't add attachments. It will be attached to the listing though. So they're going to have a link to view the listing from Showing Time. I'm sure they could schedule a showing if they wanted to, but it'll have the photos and stuff like that. So they'll know which home it is. And up here, it defaults to checking all agents that have shown the property in the last 180 days. You can set it all agents in my firm. That's your office. Several have blocked Showing Time. So it is what it is. But you can copy, you can just turn on whoever you want. And I thought you could add people, but I don't see
No,
that
it's
now.
just people in our office and people that have shown up.
No, okay.
you
There you go.
can?
You can add people. I think that, I don't know if you've always been able to do this because I feel like
Where
I
did you
had
go to do that?
problems with that.
See, I
before.
learned something.
Let's close. I guess if you want everybody's emails, there you go too. I don't know who blocked it.
But is that everyone in the MLS or just our office?
That's just our office.
Oh, okay.
Or if agents who have shown the property.
Okay.
But if you hit update right here,
Okay.
which is not necessarily where I would have gone, you can add other people, right? So if there's other agents, you have their emails and you want to blast out to them too, you can just add them to this list.
He's under the, whenever he went into the reports and he went under send notification, he's under that email.
Yep.
Is that
Oh,
what you asked?
open the listing and it's listing activity report. So I know it's weird, but listing activity report, then send notification. And that's really all there is to this, right? You put your subject line in your email and then type whatever message you want to go with it. Now, if you do want to share something that goes along with this message, you can put links in here, right? So if there's a flyer we made for it, you can put a link to the flyer that we put on Google Drive or something like that. You can't put images, but we could link them to the website. We could share something with Google Drive is kind of where I go with that because that's an easy way to share files out, right? But just depends on what we're doing.
And you've probably seen these come across when someone does a price adjustment
Yep.
or you could do this when you have an open house, like we're having an open house, or even we're having a broker's open. I wanted to make sure and personally invite you. There's a lot of things that you could do and you can change it. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, I just don't know if it's okay. So I saw somebody send it out to notify everybody of multiple offers. So to notify all the agents who had shown it that we are now in a multiple offer situation.
Should be
I
fine.
mean, I don't know if that's a problem for anybody,
I mean,
but
as long as everybody knows there's multiple offers.
yeah, I mean, everybody got
Yeah.
notified. So
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I've only seen it once, so
Yeah.
that was a little interesting to me, but but that's really it for Showing Time here. I just want to make sure you guys knew how to do that.
And there's a lot of stuff you can do in here. We're not going to go through other stuff, but there's a lot of stuff you can do. Go in and play with it. I mean, it's great information. You're not going to break anything. That will be something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
get
look
Jeremy
at
to help
that.
you with that.
We can figure that out. Where do you want to go next? I know I have one more thing.
Go ahead and do your open houses.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Oh, okay, so this actually came up last week and I didn't know how to do this. So how to search for open houses in MLS, because this is just one of those things that it's a very easy thing for you to share out to your sphere, particularly if you're working with a lot of buyers, right? They're looking for this sort of information. But also I just didn't know how to do it. So if you go to your search, it's under more. It's not one of the defaulted fields here and it's all the way at the bottom, but you can actually search for open houses. So it should be a better search than what you're going to find on like Zillow or something like that. So if you're looking for your clients, I would definitely point you guys here.
And this is a great opportunity too. If someone said, hey, what houses are open this weekend or whatever, and they're just kind of looking, you can pull that report and show them. It's a real easy tool.
Mhm.
Or if you wanted to see what was open.
And then, I mean, this is just like a search, right? So you put your dates or whatever city criteria that you need, and you're going to have that list. So I guess let's put in a date because there's 700 in there. So Saturday, looks like throughout the MLS, we have 145 open houses. So yeah,
The-
definitely put some criteria in there.
The other thing that you could do for your listings is pull open houses and see if anybody is doing an open house in the neighborhood you have a house listed. Community open houses are great. So that way you can see, oh, they're doing an open house. I'm going to contact that agent, let them know I'm going to do an open house this weekend. And maybe we can help each other to move traffic from one house to the other.
That's a great idea. And you do have the map view here too, right? So you don't have to open each listing. You can just go in there and kind of look and see where they're at. Got one all the way out there.
That's it for MLS.
Okay,
Oh, wait, no. One more thing. Go and do a search for expired listings. So we've talked a lot about expireds, and I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and they were like, if I wanted to actually reach out to expired listings and contact them, how would I go about doing that? Well, you can actually go in here and pull an expired report from MLS. It takes a little bit of leg time because you're also going to want to go in and make sure that it hasn't sold or that it's not currently active. Because if it was expired and you looked at like 2 years previously, well, in that 2 years, it may have sold in that 2 years. So just always look at that because they may not be ready to sell if they just sold 2 years ago. But you can pull stuff. Everyone gets the feeling of selling in like a 7-year period. So this is a great way to go in and see. This is also a great way to go in and see if there are houses that might work for your current buyers that actually expired 2 or 3 years ago, but now they may not know the market is great. This is a great way to go in and search for homes for your buyers that you can actually go and do some prospecting on the back end. No, it's a list.
Mhm.
It'll show
So,
you which ones.
so this is works just like the other searches, right? I changed it from the default 0 to 90 to 0 to 30 just because, but whatever you're looking at, just change your time frame accordingly. And if you go to results, that's where you'll get the list view. And you can come up here and change it from 25. We have 167, but I can do 100 at a time.
And that's a great way to start reaching out to expireds.
And there's lots of other things you can do around this. I mean, you still have your tax records here, so you can always pull up your tax records just by that icon. And maybe this gives you some information. Maybe it gives you a name. You can try to figure out some contact information for that seller.
And just to point out on this one's an investment property. How do I know this? How else? What if there wasn't an LLC? The biggest way that you almost always know is the address that's up top is different than the billing address. So the address up top is the house we're actually looking at. The billing address is where the bills go, which generally mean the owner lives somewhere else. So this to me would be an investment property. So if you're looking to reach out to investments, like people that are investments and letting them know, hey, I got investors out there that are looking to buy a property just like yours. This is a great way to start reaching out to some of those investors. But that's a great way to identify that.
Shorty Mac LLC.
Shorty Mac.
That's- That's pretty good.
You just do a search, and I think, Jeremy, that's something you'll go over with her tomorrow. Are you going to do general
We can.
basic MLS stuff?
Yeah, we can.
And that's something where the basic MLS, where you go in and you can pull an address, you can pull an MLS number if you knew it, you can pull anything like that, or you can pull an area and then just pinpoint it from that. And he can show you how to pull those searches.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Easiest way I do it is just by the address. But sometimes the way they put the address in, if they spell out Boulevard or if they just put BLVD, there's a lot of those things involved. So sometimes it doesn't always recognize your address. So you have to get a little bit more creative, but that's the easiest way for me.
Okay. Do you want to go next? You want to do Michael Lewis?
I'll go next.
Okay.
That way you don't have to talk the whole time. So I'm going to do a mykw.kw.com. I want to show you how you can look at some numbers in there. A lot of people do not. Oh no, it's not. Oh, good.
Oh,
I'm like,
you-
oh no.
Close out of this and you might, it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Yeah,
just keep going.
okay.
Yep. Didn't like your click.
Didn't like my click. Okay, so whenever you go into mykw.kw.com, right up here where your picture is, there is a little link that says reports. When you click on that reports, it's going to take you into an area where you can select, you can save favorites, you can select different reports, whatever you're looking for. And if you come over here to reports and it drops down all the reports you can look at, you're going to see a lot of your individual reports. You can see what your last, for the, what does this show? Is it calendar year or? I believe this is calendar year.
They will have the multi-year trends too.
They do have multi-year trends. So you can even look at your multi-year trends for the last 10 years, and it'll actually show your numbers listed there as well. So this is just kind of a good way to go in and look at different, if you want to see where your profit share is for the year, if you need a 1099 for your profit share. But the one I always like to go and look at whenever I was in production is I would go, and I actually have it saved as a favorite, is top associates. And when you click on top associates, it's going to take you into all of the associates in all of Keller Williams. Okay. So the way to do this is if you go over here on the right where it says Market Center and do the up arrow, it's going to sort it now by Market Center. Then, just as an idea, come over here to where the binoculars are on the left-hand side, up where it says Group Tree. Click on that, and I'm going to type in Brian Cook. And then hit enter. There's actually 2 or 3 Brian Cooks, so we'll have to find the right one. But once you do that, it's now going to show you where you stack in terms of everyone else in our market center. So it just gives you an idea of numbers. And this is good for you to be able to use in your listing presentations. My productivity, this is what I've sold for this year so far, or last year. Here's my production numbers for last year. Let's see if this is the right one.
Page 1,500.
Nope, this is the one from Market Center 23, which is Elite. So, but this just kind of shows you, if you're looking at Market Center 23, this shows you that Brian Cook at Market Center 23 is the second highest producer at Market Center 23. Wyatt Poindexter has already done $1 million in GCI, which is gross commission income, and he has sold 84 properties this year. So if you were to scroll down, you're going to see everyone else in Market Center 23 until it gets to the next Market Center. I'm not sure why it's taking so long, but let's go. I'm gonna pull it. Oh, here
And
we go.
this is the top producing or top agents report.
So this just kind of shows you, if we were to go all the way up to the top, you're going to see who's our top producer in our market center, which is 27. And this just kind of gives you a running tally, so you kind of know where you stack, but it also gives you your numbers. If you don't care how you stack with other people, that's completely fine. But this is good information to have for your numbers, so that when you're talking to clients, you know what you've done, so you can educatively tell them, here's what I've done for the year. I've done 28 million in production. I've sold 63 properties, you know, and so this just kind of gives you some talking points. Under the MyKW.com reports, there's also associate reports. There is a ton of information that you can pull on your individual numbers. So anything you can think of, come in here and take a look at it and see where your production is, what's your multi-year trend. So like you can actually come up here and go to multi-year trends, and this will pull your multi-year trends. So it will give you a snapshot of your performance. I don't know if it's going to have anything in here because I haven't had anything in the last year and a half. But it may show if it's, you know, on a 3-year, is it a 10-year? It's a 4-year. So it does show my numbers in 17 and 18. But this is a great way to really understand where you're at, where your production numbers are. And it also gives you a chance, if you're really looking at your profit share, you know, there's a place in here where you can pull profit share numbers. I mean, just anything in general. So this is a great piece to use. And did you ask me, where did I get to it at? Okay, so I'm just going in, I'm logging in, I just go and click reports and it takes me right there.
Can I add on to that?
Yeah.
So So I'm thinking of the top agent report, and there's many different ways you guys could use that, but the first place I went is helping you build a strong referral network. You could pair that. We have that map in the referral section in Command where you can see kind of where people are sending referrals to, where they're coming from. This can help you identify some top producing agents there. We can reach out to them. Maybe we can become referral partners, right? Those are producing agents, obviously. So they have business and they're probably sending referrals out to places that maybe wouldn't reflect in those numbers. So yeah, just to me, those two would match up perfectly, right? So just food for thought.
Okay, any questions on that? This is something that you just want to go in. We wanted to show you where it's at so you can go in and start manipulating some of those numbers, but a lot of people don't know they're there. The only other thing I wanted to show you guys was there is a great tool to use whenever you are out there doing listing presentations, talking to clients, and that involves our numbers for our office. What is happening here? How do I log in? I'm going to pull up our market share. So every month we get a report that shows what is our market share in our Edmond office. So market share.
Which we do post to the website.
I think this is the one I just did. Yeah. So every month I can go into Broker Metrics and I can pull and I can see Keller Williams Central Oklahoma. We're in the top and we're at 13.5 market share. Then if you go, the next one is Keller Williams Elite, Metro First. And what I always like to talk about when I go into listing presentations is what these numbers mean as for you as a seller is that we have 13.5% market share, which means in our office, we sell 1 in 7 homes in the Edmond market. So the good news for you is that if you list with Keller Williams and you list with me, you are getting the top market share company and broker that is in the Edmond area. And you can see our listings are a little bit higher than our buyers, but we're pretty even when you look at it. Now, if you were to look and add the next 4 people, it would take at least the next 4 offices to equal the market share that we hold in the Edmond market. This is a great tool to use, especially for you new guys that are coming into the market and don't have any stats. You don't have any numbers that you can use. Use the office numbers. You're working for an office that has the data. They have the numbers. Use those to be able to market yourself until you can use your personal numbers to market. So that was really all I wanted to show on. Jeremy will have to tell you where those are saved. I think
So
it's on our website.
if you go to kwcentralok.com, this is where we post them. I'm going to try to be better at posting them to the Facebook group, maybe just reminding you guys where to go for this when we post them. But you can find these under Agent Portal, Market Share Reports. So if you haven't been to this website yet, you will have to create an account in order to access these. We don't want them out there for the public. Not that you guys can share these numbers. We just don't put them out there so other agents can use them. Log in real quick. There we go. Okay. So once you're logged in, Agent Portal, Market Share Reports, and then just choose whatever year you want. Of course, we're looking for current ones. We're going to go to 2021. This is also where I post the absorption rates. So you can kind of get a twofer there, right? And just scroll through and figure out whichever month. Now, keep in mind for these market share reports, they run a month behind because it needs the whole month to have all the data, right? So in September, we're going to get August's market share. I don't know if I said that right, but August is. See, I need to let Cindy do more of the talking. But you can see we post them as we get them here. So I didn't post the absorption rates, I guess, for July. So I'm going to fix that. But
What is happening with the screen?
What do you mean?
What's
Oh, there's a golf. I don't know.
I
I didn't
thought
make
it
that
was like-
background.
I thought it was like water in the monitor or something.
No.
I'm like, what is happening?
There's a video playing in the background. It's a real fancy
That's
website
so
now.
fancy.
So we do get a couple different kind of reports. So like this one has, I think, 12 pages and it's tons of numbers. So definitely encourage you guys to come in here, look around and see what we have. I guess we have at least 3 different types of reports we post here. Those market share reports with like the bar graphs, the kind of detailed report here, and then those absorption rates. So easy place to get at. We do get quarterly ones as well. So obviously not every month, but if you're looking for bigger numbers, bigger trends, those quarterly reports will help you with those as well. Yep. Any questions on this? Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Unless anybody has any questions on any of that. You have Michael Lewis.
I've got one more thing I wanted to show you guys. So the MLS is kind of, I'm going to go to the wrong place. MLS is like my go-to for data, right? Because that is the point of entry. It is always going to be the most accurate. If it's feeding out to another website, there's a chance something changed in the data, right? So always recommend going to MLS as the point of origin. But Michael Lewis Marketing Suite, that the marketing suite, we have all these different templates and everything. They also have a data tool as well to find these marketing statistics for you. So once you log in, it's this real-time data section. Probably my favorite thing about this is it emails this to me like every week. It might actually be more often, but you can pick a city or a zip code, and it's going to immediately give you tons of things you could use, you know, for whatever you want, or you could just copy their graphic and post that. You don't necessarily have to do anything, right? So no, let's just look at all of it. Edmond, Oklahoma. Oh, Cindy, I'm signing you up.
Yay.
But there you can see it immediately just pulled up Edmond, Oklahoma. The cool thing about this is, and maybe you compare some of these if you're really into these numbers, this system is pulling from 30 different data sources. So it's kind of neat to see like maybe what they're picking up that maybe MLS isn't. But if nothing else, you know, I've got all these great numbers to talk about here: median days on market, median price points. And if you keep scrolling down, you get even more, right? So 7-day averages, 90-day averages, you have several options from what you can choose from. And just like we could in MLS, we can print this, we could get a graphic out of this, so we could post it on the Facebook. And I mean, when you sign up, it is going to email you. I'm promising you at least on a weekly basis to update you on these numbers. And it just has a link to go directly to this report. So maybe it's a reminder for you to go on Facebook or something and share this with other people. And then some different categories and stuff. So like anything else, find the numbers you want that are going to tell that story that you want to tell, right? If we're trying to talk to people about listings, we really want to hit on those average days on market and the list price, right? Because that is what maybe might get those people to say, okay, I want to be a part of this. If we're talking about buyers, I don't know. Buyers are hard. We maybe want to talk about inventory, so they maybe are a little more purposeful when they're putting offers in, right? Yeah. That's all. And I think this indicator is kind of nice, showing you maybe how much of a seller's market versus a buyer market we are. We're not in like the heat of the fall last year, or maybe even spring this year. We were probably in the 70 to 80 range, much stronger seller's market. So we can see it's starting to level out a little bit. We're definitely swinging more towards a balanced market, but we are definitely not there, right? So food for thought. I do like the text too. It's kind of just good marketing language. Maybe you pick something up out of it. But encourage you guys to take a look at this. I really like their program here. Yeah. Okay. That's really all I had for you guys. So.
Do you guys have any questions? Anything that you've been thinking of that you wanted to find out how to do, or questions on anything we've gone over?
We kind of went over a lot too. So yeah.
Yeah.
Good,
I
good,
actually
good.
learned something too. I learned the statistics thing. So.
And if y'all have questions on any of this, or maybe you've looked at it, but you're not sure what to do with it, right? Come talk to us. We are happy to brainstorm with you. we're not always going to have the answers, but maybe together we can figure out something really cool, right? There are graphics that you could like plug in some of these numbers, and Michael Lewis in Command. I'm sure there's stuff in Canva too, that are just pre-formatted and ready for you just to plug in numbers and share it out, right? So if you want to do something a little different than just like taking the graphics that they have, you could do something more custom like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Flyers.
Correct.
Or there's stuff that you don't have to purchase. You can go in and use templates that they have already provided for you, just change it to your information, and it's free templates. If you want them to do it for you, then there's a charge, but Market Center pays for you to have a certain amount of free templates, and then anything you wanted them to do for you, you would pay for it.
Mhm.
Yeah. That could be something you go over with her tomorrow too.
Yeah.
How to log in.
Yeah, we can look at that. But I think that's all we have for you guys today. So if nobody has any questions, we're gonna give you guys 10 minutes back. Feel free to speak up. Nice to see you, Mike. Just now saw your camera. So
Hey, Mike. All right. Well, thank you guys,
All
and we'll let you know what we're gonna do next week.
thanks for coming.
All right. See you
Let us know if
later.
you have any questions.